Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast. We are back after our... Well, that was unexpected.
So for those at home, Matt just switched his webcam background over to a beautiful anime woman.
An anime waifu.
Who he is now sinking into as his...
He's fading into, he's becoming one with his waifu.
Camera can't figure out what is background and what isn't.
Matt's been playing around with virtual cameras, I see.
I thought I would surprise you during the intro.
That took me completely by surprise. I appreciate you fucked my intro.
Well, for those kids at home, we were supposed to have an intro just now.
We were, and it would have been more interesting than any intro I would have came up with. Hello and welcome to the Dad and Sons podcast. I am Liam Edwards, and once again, I am joined by my anime waifus, Matt Visual and George Weedman.
Hi.
These lovely boys are back. How are you guys doing?
Great. Absolutely
Hanging in there.
Good.
Fantastic.
I'm glad to hear.
I'm holding on.
How was your Christmas? Your Merries and Christmases?
I did a lot of sleeping.
Wait, has it been that long?
It's been 5 days since Christmas. No, 4 days. God, it's already the 30. Stop it, Matt. Stop. Actually, I could look at that.
Matt is continuing to scroll through a slideshow of provocative images that he has stored on his desktop.
I'm enjoying this. I wish people could view this.
Well,
They will.
yes.
They will.
Lucky for you, Liam, people will be able to enjoy watching all this stupid bullshit on January 16th at 6 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Wait, no, fuck.
George already ruined it.
6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern.
Yes, that's January 16th.
Yeah.
That is 11 a.m. January 17th, my time in Japan. Please join us for the 150th episode Bonanza, which will be our Game Awards episode. If you would like to join in the pre-shenanigans, some of the Jeff Keighley shenanigans beforehand, you can join our Dad and Sons Dad Select t-shirt contest, where you could win a long sleeve Dad and Select shirt, much like the one I'm wearing right now, and also a game of your choice from our favorite indie games of the year, Noita, Ikenfell, and also... what was the last one?
Hades,
of course. Literally the game of the year for everybody.
Hades.
I know, I forgot the main one. All you have to do to enter is follow Dad and Sons Pod on Twitter, and also tweet a picture of you listening to the show in a random, interesting, wonderful environment. We've had some incredible entries so far, including one person who listens to the podcast on a Nintendo DS. Which,
Wait, what?
To be honest, just close the contest right now, because how can you beat?
The
How can you beat that?
competition is incredible.
How can you beat that?
The air is heating up here at Dad and Son Stadium tonight. I tell you, Steve, I've never seen anything like
Judge,
this.
did you see our Discord member Tony's one yesterday that he sent, the Metal Gear one, of somebody listening to Dad and Sons inside of what I think is Metal Gear Solid 4 or 5, the iPod that you could get for a Snake.
That's clever.
That's pulling in the George karma right there. That's like Reddit karma, but for George. So anyway, if you'd like to do that, we're going to announce the winner of that live on air during our 150th episode. If you'd like to win a shirt or a game, of your choice out of those three, then please go ahead and follow Dad and Sons Pod and tweet a picture of you listening to this episode or any other fucking episode from before. You should have already caught up by now, but please do. Anyway, bureaucracy out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
How you guys' Christmas been? What you guys been doing?
I had the worst Christmas in my whole life.
Whoa.
Here we go again.
Whoa.
Oh no.
You want me to put some more anime boobs on the back screen?
Yes, actually. I laughed more in the past, 5 minutes than I have
I did during
in the whole...
Christmas.
Since last week when we recorded.
George, why don't you contact us for some love, man?
Because I was working on a 5,000 word long Valve Index review.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, now you've said it live. That means you're committed to doing it. You should have kept that to yourself.
That's what I was doing all Christmas. Everyone's locked up for the disease. I'm mailing some relatives some packages.
That's nice of you.
But, yeah, no, shit sucks this year. I hate it.
It does suck this year.
Yeah, fuck this year. That's what I'm most excited about right now. It's not going to be 2020 anymore.
That's true. By the time everybody will be listening to this episode, it will officially be 2021. We are recording this in the memories of the horrific year that is 2020.
The only time I liked seeing that year progress bot is yesterday when it said 2020 was 99% done. That's the only time I want to see the year progress bot.
That was pretty sweet. That was pretty sweet.
But yeah, I'll be putting out a big-ass Valve Index review in a day or two. And the thing that, like, it's not a good review to make. It's not a good review. It doesn't make me feel good to make it because my opinions have been like so zigzaggy and wishy-washy depending on things like hardware failures and tracking errors. And the $1,000 I spent on that just makes the whole tone of it feel bad. So like, yeah, I spent Christmas writing a slightly leaning negative Valve Index review, and I found out that HP just released a new headset with a lot of the same features for $600.
It's not the same, George. It is not the
sure?
same. Yeah, dude. I'm telling you, the controllers will not be the same, man. It's not.
Well, right now the controllers, I articulated this by finally putting it down in writing. The controllers have unique bells and whistles that VR games aren't designed for. The problem is that where a grip button would be, there's no button. It's a sensor. So you don't have tactile feedback. It tracks your fingers, but like you're constantly you can't immerse yourself as well when you're constantly thinking about whether or not you're properly emulating the controls of other VR headsets. Like, does wrapping one finger around the sensor count as a grip? Do you need two fingers? Do you have to squeeze it really hard for it to count as a grip? Or can you just touch it to count as a grip? The results on these Valve Index controllers seem inconsistent across different games, and the one game that's built for them, Half-Life Alyx, the one and only, works perfectly. But in so many other games, I got some footage and I'm realizing that, like, I am dropping stuff accidentally, and that's a problem that the Oculus players, like people like you that I've talked to, don't have that problem. And it's like too experimental for its own good. It's too cutting edge for its own good, and it's got all these hardware failures that keep cropping up. I'm not the only one in that regards either. A lot of other players are having problems with their controllers drifting, the stick's not clicking properly, and it's a can of worms, man. I don't. It's official. I don't recommend the Valve Index. It's not worth that $1,000 at all. It's a cool toy, but it's not worth that $1,000. And I would rather see my viewers and my fans pay $600
or $300 or literally $300. Literally $300.
Yes.
Literally nothing, compared to like what we used to pay. You know how much I paid for my fucking Oculus? Too much money.
You did not pay $1,000 though.
I played close though. I played way close. I'm on the upper. I'm definitely on the upper. I have 3 sensors and cables up the wazoo.
Crossing that line feels bad. It feels real bad.
Can I surprise you guys?
Please, I need it.
I played like 6 games in the past 3 days, which must be some sort of record for me. How about that?
That's a game a day and 1 day to rest. You were like God.
I know. I'm really trying to use my vacation wisely. I'm playing a lot of games. I'm doing some streaming, playing some games. I streamed all day today, which happens to be Tuesday as we're recording. I streamed all day, and I managed to play a couple of different games, and I'm also playing a lot in my free time as well. I'm going to throw it out there, because I only finished one of them, but the others are kind of like coming along nicely.
Yeah.
The one I did finish was I played through Halo 5 with a friend.
Yeah.
Randomly. Mm-hmm. So a friend of mine who I used to work with, he has been mainlining all the Halo games. He's played through all the Halo games recently.
Snorting them
just
up.
Literally snorting them up. Since the MCC collection came to PC, he's been playing from 1 through to 5. and then he got to 5, and then it wasn't in the Master Chief Collection anymore. So he was like, "Hey, can I come around and play your Series X, and we'll play through Halo?"
Oh, that's the best
like,
way
sure.
to fucking play.
Oh my god, you had a friend over in your house to play Halo on split screen.
Well, that would be great.
There's no split screen.
But Halo 5 does not have split
yeah, they
screen.
took it out.
They took it out. So we did it the old school, which was frustrating.
Absolutely
it's fucking Halo.
frustrating.
What the hell are you doing?
I mean, the
Yeah,
TVs
it's
have
really
gotten
frustrating.
bigger, but yet there's no split screen. What the fuck is that?
I know. And the game looks gorgeous. I forgot this game was from 2015. I thought it was a lot more recent than that. Like 2015 since the last Halo game? It's
Yeah, it
pretty
makes you think
crazy.
about Halo Infinite and how it looks like trash, right?
Hey.
You're so fucking right. Like, we're dealing with 4K resolutions at this point. There's so many cool split screen gags games could be doing with all the pixels that they
Yep.
can make room for. Like, that old problem of it being too blurry to see anything in your screen is solved nowadays. But
Yeah, we should play 4-player
like
on
it.
some little ass fucking CRT.
where you have your GoldenEye stamp corner.
No scopes. Like from miles away on little pixels, man. And we weren't even that close to the damn TV. Because you had to get too close to your friends. You know, some of your friends don't smell good.
can't.
So like you couldn't get too
Well, they
close.
cheat.
You know, you had to stack. You know, it's 2 people down and 2 people on chairs. You know, you had to. It was a weird situation. But now you can have a big TV, sit back. You know, sorry, I didn't grow up rich. I grew up very poor, so we had small TVs. But yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, most TVs at that time were pretty small anyway. I remember playing Halo on tiny ass CRT TVs.
I went over
I love
Jimmy's
my
house.
12-inch
Jimmy's house,
CRT.
they had a huge, the ones that took like a minute to turn on. Yeah, those monsters, man.
Oh, gotta warm them
Warm
up.
them up, man.
Warm up the
Yeah,
tube.
fucking, there was a
the
crank.
fluids.
There was a crank at the
Tubes.
other end of it.
Winding that shit.
Scrape the ice off the screen before you can start.
Do they have one of those weird volume knobs at the front that you have to like
Yeah.
wind quite a lot? Oh man,
You would
Holy
hear it
shit.
turn on.
Well,
high
all the,
pitched
like the
noise,
static
yeah.
sound that would pierce through.
Fucking break through the
Oh, man,
sound barrier. and
CRTs
shit.
rock.
Yeah.
CRTs is so cool.
I almost got in a Twitter argument with someone about them. There's kids these days growing up.
yeah,
they
about
don't
the
know.
PS2.
They don't know
They
about
don't.
CRTs.
Yeah, they want to sit here
Anybody
and
who
tell us
doesn't
about
think-
HDR and shit. But listen,
CRTs are the real shit.
I would take Dragon Quest 8 on a CRT any day. What a gorgeous game. PS2 could do some damn cool shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to
Yeah.
Halo being
Yeah.
ruined. So we played it through it the other old school way, which was you die, you pass the controller. We were playing on Legendary because Halo, you know,
it's the
it's not that
only way
hard.
to play it.
Strategic
The
Halo.
game is all right. It's fine.
I've heard it's kind of the low point of the
I don't know if it's the low point
franchise.
compared to Halo 4, but
Okay.
there's like a lot of good set pieces in it, and there's a lot of nice environments. The game looks, because it's been upscaled for this release on Xbox Series X. So it's in 60 frames, it's 4K, it's gorgeous. It really is a very, very pretty game. But it's a Halo game, and you spend 90% of the time not playing as Master Chief. That's very strange. The whole story of the game is about Cortana becoming a rogue AI and basically taking over control of the most powerful things in
Oh,
the
really?
universe to be able to restore order.
I don't think I've played it. Holy shit.
Yeah, no, and then you spend all of the game chasing after Master Chief, which is super weird because Cortana is the reason why everything's happening, but the game barely spends any time explaining any of that. Why am I complaining about Halo lore? But it's kind of weird. I don't mind the squad aspect of it. I liked being able to target enemies and allow, like, when you, especially if you're playing on Legendary, it requires some sort of strategic play where you want your squad to focus on, you know, like turrets and elites and, you know, when you have the Prometheans, the big knights, all that kind of thing. But it's a fairly generic Halo game with a weird narrative. By the end, I really wanted it to fucking end because it just keeps on going, finding the same enemies and the same environments on the last planet for ages. Like, that last hour is bad, not fun at all, especially when you're playing on higher difficulties and the enemies are just ridiculously cheese. was fine. Played through a Halo game. Halo's fun with a friend. Guns felt really good in that one. It was a good time. It was okay. The narrative. Just let me play as Master Chief, man. Just let me play as Master Chief. I don't want to be Locke. I don't want to be, Nathan Fillion.
God.
Tom Holland.
What's her name?
Video games are such a broken record right now because I seriously feel like I'm
Playing the same thing.
I couldn't believe this was 2015. It was the year I moved to Japan. I can't believe it was that old. That's insane.
In 2004, everyone was salty about how in Halo 2 you spend half the game not playing as Master Chief. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in 2007 in Halo 3, isn't a big chunk of the story about Cortana going rogue and...
So they have something called rampancy.
Yeah.
Where after 8 years of service or something like that. Sorry, I don't know my Halo lore that integral.
And Halo used to be so fun.
I had a good time. 2015, I couldn't believe that part. I had never played it myself. I played Halo 4 and then kind of dropped off the franchise. It kind of made me looking forward to Infinite eventually. I mean, they've delayed it now until the fall of next year, which is a long way away. So that's a lot of time to right any wrongs that people may feel aggrieved by.
That should be enough time to replace the gunshot sound effects.
Yeah. No, it's really weird because after playing, having played Halo 5 in 4K and 60 frames, and I really thought that was a very pretty game. I went back and looked at the footage of Infinite, and I was like, okay, yeah, there's some things that just don't seem right, but I don't know. They should be able to correct it. I imagine they're using most of the same engine and software. They're probably just something's gone a bit wrong in the art direction department, possibly. But yeah, no, it's fine. Not the most interesting game I played this week. So I very briefly want to talk about 2 games or 3 because Game Pass seems to have opened up a whole new world of games this week.
Exploded, didn't it?
It
Jesus
did.
Christ.
Exploded. 2 games that were on there that I really want to mention. One is I started playing the anime Dark Souls, which is Code Vein.
It's on there?
It's on there now, yes. And it's not very good. Not
Listen.
enjoyable.
Is it... So it's not free to play. It's
free, George. It's on Game Pass, man. We know. We talked about this.
Oh my God! You know what I'm asking?
It's free.
It's free real estate, George. We've said this.
I'm just gonna Google it instead of asking you. Then Code Vein.
It's on Game Pass. Yes, for free.
I don't see it. Why is it? How are you? I want to play that.
Yeah.
Okay. No.
Maybe in
Code
Japan.
Vein is
maybe in Japan.
$24.
It might be a
Steam.
Japan thing.
Don't buy it for $24. All right, it's fine. It's mediocre. It's not bad. It has the worst tutorial I've played in a long time with the worst opening exposition. It bugged out a lot as well. The one of the main characters I met had no body. It was just eyes and a floating mouth.
Was their dick hanging out?
In anime armor, which made it really funny because he had all the belts and straps all around him, and there was nothing there, and he just had eyes
with
and a
his
mouth.
nips clipping through.
Yeah, it was like the old Assassin's Creed Unity or whatever it was called. That game. It was basically that screenshot, but in an anime game. It's a poor man's Dark Souls. It's not very difficult. It doesn't feel very good to play.
It's
I think
all
I'm
right.
good.
I went to the first big boss. It was actually
not
bad.
What's his name? Oliver Weeks or whatever his name is.
what the boss?
Yeah.
I know it was a woman. It was maybe the big. There's a big boss
okay,
a
right.
big area. Girl going crazy, freaking tentacles. You know the anime. Classics.
Anime classics.
Anime
Hentai.
classics. Yeah. The one that you actually die at. Yeah.
Did you play the tutorial?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I remember the story being dog shit, but I remember liking
garbage.
the combat actually a little bit more.
Not so bad. It's not refined in any way like Dark Souls is you would expect, but I mean, of course not. But yeah, I don't know. Not the best first impressions. And when you got a lot of games to play on Game Pass, you need to be impressing me immediately.
When you have choices, it's just like dating. When you have choices,
exactly. you sample sizes, and then move on. And then one game I did sample size and immediately fell in love with, and I really am enjoying playing it. Is called Monster Train. You guys heard of this?
Yeah.
No.
It's the first Slay the Spire clone.
Oh yeah, Monster Prom is the second one, right?
No, not
right,
Monster
right.
Prom. Monster Train.
Yeah, Monster
Train.
Prom is the second one. That's what I'm saying. This is number 2.
No. You're thinking of the visual novel. I'm talking about the card game, Slay the Spire. It's basically Slay the Spire, but on a train, and I love it. It's so ridiculously stupid in its copying of Slay the Spire. Like, it wears Slay the Spire's heart on its sleeve, but it has its own mechanics, which is super unique, and I really like it. The idea is you're playing basically a game of Slay the Spire, where you have characters that you then put cards on, and you use cards to drop units, but you're riding this train, and it has the last pyre of hell on it, like the last flame of hell. And the idea is to keep the flame alive and get it to the underworld so you can re-spark the Armageddon or whatever. And you're playing all these monsters because you're on the side of hell. And the idea is to keep the train's fire going, right? And the fire is basically your nexus or your health pool or whatever. And when it's killed by the enemies or overrun, that's when you lose a run. But before that, you have this train, and the train is layered by 4 compartments, right? It's like a 4 stacked, like, what would you call it? A quadruple decker train. Then enemies come out on the bottom deck, and then they have a turn against your units at the bottom, and then they move up a deck to the next one. And then if they survive that after fighting your units, they move on to the third, and then finally they move on to the fourth, which is where your pyre is. And the idea is that you're placing these card units, like you're using cards to place units and spells, and you place the units on the different decks of the train, trying to counter and battle the enemies as they move through your train. It looks really complicated when you look at a screenshot of it, but it's incredibly simple. You just lay them down, the unit's there. Each deck has like a certain amount of like mana, and if you fill the mana, then you can't put any more units down or use any more spells on that deck. And then you have like a mana pool, same as Magic, same as Hearthstone. And basically, if you play Slay the Spire in any way, or Magic, you definitely know how to play this game. But it has really cute, neat mechanics around the idea of this train and the different decks, and you're stacking units on top of each other to like fight enemies as they come through your first wave of units, and then you fight them on the second, and you're trying to do maths in your head about how much damage will this enemy take on this deck, which means by the time they get to the second deck, how much damage can my unit do against them to stop them from going towards the pyre. And then bosses tend to come in and they can fly between the different decks, and you have to try and like calculate, oh, if I put my champion on the bottom deck, how am I going to get him to the top? And it's all this kind of thing. And it's interesting because it's definitely not as popular as Slay the Spire. I think it's done really well, but it is it's a good example of like when you take a very simple sort of game. Slay the Spire is obviously complicated in its card nature, but in terms of like it's a pure card battling game, between you and an enemy. But then you take it to the next step, and it turns out to be a very good game, but maybe you're putting people off by having too many mechanics. And if you have Game Pass, I highly recommend it. It's really good fun. I've been playing it like every day, like a couple of runs. I've yet to beat it, but it's a really good time, and I'm really, really enjoying it. So that's one game on Game Pass that if you like card games, and you like, especially if you like Slay the Spire, you should play Monster Train. It's good fun. The art style is a bit, it's hit and miss. It's definitely better than Slay the Spire, I think, because I don't think Slay the Spire's art is very good, as we've established on this podcast before, which I got a load of slate for, but that's fine. It sucks, but whatever. Monster Train, hell of a good time. I'm really enjoying it.
It has a very like Instagram ad art style going for it.
Wow.
Yes, it does.
That's
it
that's on point, right? It's on point.
that stings.
It reminds me of nothing other than, there's adverts that are like, "Be my lord, take my castle."
Yeah.
This game will make you jizz in 30 seconds.
Yeah. That's exactly what the art reminds me of.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Which is still to say it's better than Slay the Spires, but yes, it reminds me exactly of like a Facebook ad. Like,
Wow.
you want to play Raid Shadow Legends, my lord? Like those.
Raid Shadow Legends will make you come in 45 seconds.
Jesus. Guys, you should not be going that fast. I'm just letting you know right now. Since this is like what we hit, what was a 99% male, right? Podcast, so I guess we can say.
Yes. Well,
I think it was 96. 96.
The poor 1% female listening to this poor podcast.
Oh, come on.
We need to show more boobs, guys. We need to take off our shirts.
Matt, your chest hair's poking out enough. Like that's pretty good.
Don't you have a folder of that on your desktop, Matt?
Yeah, Matt, show us the boobs.
Just
no, I mean
switch your
man
green
tits.
screen over to your waifus.
Yeah,
I mean, after this Christmas, I'm growing some man boobs. That's for sure. Jesus Christ, that's a lot of food.
We all are growing a little bit of man boobs.
There is one other game I want to tell you. I know I played a lot of games this week. There's just one other game, and guys, I promise you it'll be worth it because I hate it.
Oh,
I hate it, and I'm so sad because we talked about one good game. Well, we talked about a pretty mediocre Halo that was all right, and a very mediocre Dark Souls clone. A really good card game. And who would have thought that the sequel to Super Meat Boy, one of the greatest platformers of all time, would be terrible?
Wait,
to be fair,
terrible?
it's not called Super Meat Boy 2.
It's called Super Meat Boy Forever, and I don't like it, and I couldn't understand why nobody's talking about it. I'm so sorry. It's bad.
So they turned Super Meat Boy into an endless runner, huh?
They turned the most precise, precision indie platformer into an endless runner. But not only that,
seems quite off-brand.
and it's kind of hard because I bought it last week. I haven't played it, and I thought, okay, I'm going to stream today, first day of my vacation. I'm going to stream. I'm going to have a great time because I'm going to play the sequel to one of my favorite platformers of all time. And I had no idea it was an auto runner. Started streaming it. Oh my god, I literally hate this game. I honestly, I haven't hated a game in a long time. And I hate this game. It's not good. Not just because it's not like the first game, which is a precision platformer, but the fact that it has so many issues based around the fact that it's an auto runner. But but on top of that, it's randomly generated. And that's fine for roguelikes and stuff. But imagine a game where you don't stop moving, where you have to jump precision platforming, and you have no idea what the game's going to throw at you because it's all randomly generated.
Wow.
And it doesn't
I'm watching it, and that looks frustrating because you can't go back and forth.
No, you can't.
You have to keep going forward. And that was like the whole point, is being precise.
Exactly, and one of the main things that I figured, because in the stream, after I gave up, I played 2 worlds of Super Meat Boy Forever and I was done. I went back and played the original game, and I almost finished it in one day because it's just, like, it's still perfect, and the muscle memory is still there. Like, when you jump in Super Meat Boy, you, like, you know, you twiddle the stick to, like, try and move back and, like, try and land on platforms perfectly. You can't do this in Super Meat Boy Forever because you can never turn your character from left to right. You can never turn Meat Boy in the air. So everything is a jump and then a double jump in a perfect arc all the time.
Can you imagine the shitstorm if they called it Super Meat Boy 2?
I mean, the game just nobody's talking. Like, this is it's a sequel. It is a sequel, like, to one of the most important indie games of the time, right?
Yeah.
From the
There's
Xbox
a
Live
movie
Arcade
about
era.
it, man. I watched it.
Literally a movie about it. A game that sold millions of copies. It's one of the best indie platformers of all time, possibly one of the best platformers ever. And nobody's talking about it. And now I understand why. And it's not just that it's disappointing in that regard. It's honestly not a good game. The controls are not as precise as Super Meat Boy, which is fine if your levels are designed to match that challenge. But the fact is, unlike the perfectly designed levels of Super Meat Boy, which are to entice you to learn to jump and take risks and do stuff, they've been built immaculately with hours and hours of testing to be, you know, an accomplishment of design about jumping around and landing on platforms and making massive jumps and risks, to then making a game about random generation where the player can never tell what's coming because they have no idea. Everything's random every time, and it has, like, for some reason, sometimes the screen moves, and then if you go back to the left, you die. Sometimes the screen doesn't move because the game design wants you to go underneath.
Yeah.
It's incredibly frustrating. And I think we pointed it out during the stream, and some of our great Discord members were talking about it as well. It's very apparent that, Edmund, of course, the creator of the original Meat Boy, with Tommy, who were both in the movie. Edmund obviously went on to make Binding of Isaac and those other games that he's made, End is Nigh, etc., etc. And then Tommy's been working on this for a long time. Tommy was the programmer, not the designer of the original Meat Boy. And it's kind of almost like very obvious and glaring that the challenge of how he keeps the Meat Boy thing going, and then without Edmund, who was all of the design and the ideas, to then put his own twist on it, how, this kind of has come to be. And it's just...
It's not. This is something I would never play. I'm looking at it, like, it took a lot of, like, especially back then, it took a lot of, like, patience to beat Super Meat Boy. And that's it. I didn't do the later stages. I just beat it, and that was it. I was fine with that. This looks like hell to me. This looks like hell. Because I like to be able to control my character. And I'm pretty fucking good at 2D games. I'm really fucking good at it.
So I'm fairly good at Meat Boy. Like, I almost finished the game out of spite at the first game today, just because I was like, I am not bad at this. Like, I'm very good at Meat Boy. I love it. And I almost got to the end of the game in one stream, well, in half a stream, because all the muscle memory is still there, because the levels are so designed perfectly and the controls are designed so perfectly. But this is so frustrating because there's so many... Like, in Super Meat Boy, all you have to do is press A or hold A and press a trigger to sprint. And then you can hold on to walls and you can slide down them. In this, you have A to jump, press A again to do a double jump, but it's not a double jump, it's a punch. And then once you've done the punch, you have to land on the ground to be able to reset it to do it again. So you can't keep double punching in the air, which is frustrating because sometimes they put two enemies in front of you. So how do you take the other one? Well, you have to press down on the D-pad to do like a diving punch, which then ends up being like a slide. So when you do down on the D-pad, you can slide punch into one enemy, but then it resets and you don't hit the other. So you use the slide to go under things, but it's also a punch and it's dual purpose. And there's a lot more controls in this one. And there's enemies that you need to interact with. Like there's an enemy that sucks you up and then you don't know what to do and the game doesn't tell you and you're meant to mash A to like beat yourself out of it. There's so much going on with poor tutorialization.
I find it so hard to even visualize how you hold a controller when one of your main primary buttons you're pressing all the time is down on the D-pad. What?
Well, because you're not using the stick, because you can't choose where you move. The game is like, hey, look, you have this free control. You know, you just press down on the D-pad. It's all good. Okay. And you have to use that down on the D-pad to do some really weird stuff. Like, it's a slide along the ground, but then sometimes you have to use it to smash glass. And then sometimes it only works in certain contextual situations. I'm so disappointed, the fact that obviously this is not more Meat Boy. But I'm not. It's. There are two things that were like red flags. One is nobody's talking about the game, which, considering the history of Meat Boy and also how much of a massive splash on the industry the original game made, you would think with a sequel, like if Undertale had a sequel, like Deltarune, obviously everybody went batshit crazy, right? Like if Braid had a sequel, people would be going crazy. The fact that nobody's talking about this is kind of a red flag. Secondly, when you open the game, it asks you to randomly generate a seed, and you're like, as the player, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I randomly generating seeds? What do you want from me, game? Explain what these seeds are. Why are these icons in front of me? What do the icons do? So the game is already asking the player to do stuff that the player has no idea about. So then you jump into the game, and then the tutorial is based around a randomly generated chunk, and then that randomly chunk doesn't necessarily gel with the tutorialization very well, so sometimes you can get stuck. There was actually one part of the game that I just couldn't get past. It was like broken because the controls just wouldn't work. So I had to skip that level. And in old Meat Boy, you couldn't skip levels. You had to do the level to progress to the next one. In this one, you can actually just skip that level and then go on to the next one, because it's almost like the game's like, well, we know maybe the game will be a little broken. So then, you know, we're not going to have to make you clear it. You can just literally skip to the next world. There's all sorts of things just going on with it. It's so frustrating to play. The controls are a mess. The button precision, like the collision boxes aren't very good.
Yo, so if you see the video, I timestamped it, and this guy has figured out a way, I guess it's intended, that you literally get stuck in the corner and you just don't move. So you can wait for like things to like reset their timing, like the spikes and stuff. Like, what's the point? At that point, you're just playing Super Meat Boy.
Yeah. So you're exactly right. Like, this is the thing I was saying on the stream is there's moments where the game wants you to stop and like think, and it's like,
why?
Why? If I'm meant to be auto running the whole time, all you've done is put blocks in the way, because that's what would stop me in your control scheme.
And it looks like they have no way of making sure they're jumping in the right direction, too.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, Meat Boy sometimes faces to the left, but actually his next move is to the right, because that's where his momentum is. But you can't control that. And the game is, like, that jump he makes in this video is he's facing left and then he moves right, but then when he jumps off the wall, he jumps to the left. It's very confusing.
We're watching a playthrough and the guy keeps jumping in the wrong direction, but you can tell he doesn't want to. It looks really, really frustrating.
It is incredibly frustrating. And then, you know, you just add on the fact that the collision boxes are not as tight as the original game, which, you know, can lead to frustration anyway. But the fact that you're taking control away from the player for some unnecessary reason. You could have made Super Meat Boy Forever a randomly generated game, but if you had the controls of the original game, it would be a fairly decent platformer. It's just that you would have endless amounts of levels, kind of like Mario Maker, right? Mario Maker is not Mario, but you're playing a Mario game with kind of subpar levels. This is what this would be. It would be a not Super Meat Boy game where you'd be playing subpar Meat Boy games. If that's what you're into, that's what you're into. But that's not what's happening here. You're playing an auto runner that doesn't auto run very well because it stops you in place a lot to jump. So what's the point in auto running? It reminds me kind of like those moments from Rayman Origins or Rayman Legends where you had those auto running sections, but like bad versions of those.
Yeah.
Where you're asked to jump and punch and do stuff, but like really frustrating versions of those.
And no deliberate arrangement of quirky classical music tracks as you go.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Please, if you ever wanted to know why this game is not Meat Boy, please just go listen to the soundtrack. It's fine, but it is so not Meat Boy. It's hilarious. Like the first like the first area or the world has like this weird like backwater twang music to it, almost like Courage the Cowardly Dog, kind of like do like weird backwater twang, and it just does not fit. It's good, but it doesn't fit. It's nothing on Danny B's original soundtrack. Oh man, It's really frustrating. I really wanted to play more Meat Boy. I was excited for it, but once nobody's talking about it, that was immediately a telltale sign that things had gone wildly wrong. I don't know what the reviews are like. I don't know what the user score on Metacritic is like, but I did not enjoy it, and I don't think many people will, to be honest. It's just not a very good game. It's a shame. But I really wanted to talk about it because my frustrations were wild. It was not great.
Yeah, I'm not playing that.
I just wanted to go back and play more Monster Train. In fact, I played golf with your friends instead, and that was a way better time.
Yeah,
equally as frustrating, but more fun.
But yeah.
Damn.
George, you and me. Go ahead.
Hey, Matt, you want to hear something that I feel like you've said quite a few times?
Sure.
The Oculus Store games They're pretty good.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I installed Revive and took a look through the library of supposed Oculus exclusives and was incredibly impressed and had a wonderful ass time and loved to death Lone Echo.
Yeah, boy.
Played like 3.5 hours of that with a friend over Discord. Sometime this week we're going to watch the finale when I can get back together. And yeah, this thing came out in 2017 and it has like almost Half-Life Alyx level of quality to it.
Yes.
Yeah, like granted it's shorter, there's no combat, but I don't know if I care about either of those two things, but the level of interactivity where like everything you poke in the environment does something, I can't believe they were doing that way back then.
Yeah. That's why it's like nothing like fucking like it's more about like the I don't know, the experience of the game. You know, like it's that's why Alex. I don't know. Forget it. You know what? Let me not take it away. Go ahead, George. Go ahead. I'm gonna sit here and complain.
I guess like coming from PSVR, Alex was like a huge splash in terms of seeing this stuff. But yeah, Lone Echo is an incredibly high quality science fiction first person VR puzzle adventure game where all your locomotion is zero gravity momentum that begins with you pushing yourself off a surface onto another one. And it feels really freaking good. As soon as you grip the controllers on a surface, your character stops dead in their tracks. And despite that, it doesn't... I hear that a lot of players don't get motion sickness from it. I was totally comfortable going through the whole game like this. The puzzles like all incorporate the tactile feeling of touching things in the world with these controllers. Like it's about like locking things into place and turning knobs that could get them vibrating with haptic feedback as you touch things. There's really impressive acting and performances from the woman they hired to narrate you through the game, and it's gorgeous too. There's some incredibly good lighting and shading all over this space station that has things like plants for oxygen for them to breathe. They thought about stuff like that. I really enjoyed playing some VR games this week, particularly Lone Echo. I did more of Walking Dead, Saints and Sinners, and I just got more footage for the VR review, went back into Alex for a little while, but nothing really stands out to me like Lone Echo did. That was seriously the highlight of my week. I highly recommend it, even if you're giving money to Facebook. It's $40, definitely more palatable than the like $300 contribution to Mark Zuckerberg's world empire.
It's funny because in the reality of the situation, $40 and $300 to Facebook is equally as small a drop in the ocean.
Because their revenue is in the billions, right?
Dude, if they lose Oculus, they're not going anywhere, dude. It's not even.
In either case, it felt really good to install Revive and see just how many options there are out there. Like, I'm really looking forward to going through those Oculus games in the future from here on out.
Hell yeah, dude.
I don't think there's as much to talk about regarding Lone Echo because it's not as crunchy mechanically speaking as something like Super Meat Boy. But great game. I loved it. Recommend. Yeah. And I also, on your guys' recommendation, I started Ikenfell.
Hey.
I bought it on the Nintendo Switch and
oh shit, you bought it. Okay.
Good man.
Got about an hour in and then got stuck at a boss.
You got stuck at a boss.
Oh, is it
stuck at a boss?
Oh.
What's the beacon?
Do you guys remember Beacon? It's the fireball with the angry face on it.
One of the when you light the two torches.
You light the two torches, then you go to a tavern, and the tavern keep wants you to clear out some monsters in the basement, and the boss of those monsters is Beacon.
Yeah, that
in the hole. Yeah.
Beacon has a powerful special attack that is one-hit KOing both my characters to the point where I have no free turns to recover, and I looked up a guide, and I gotta grind. I gotta go back through the rest of the basement and kill every animal in the universe to be able to kill the boss, because it's one of those RPGs where you don't know if you've grinded enough unless you die again and again and again.
See,
and that's
like,
how
I never
you know you've
have
gotta
this
go back
issue.
That's the same thing. It took me out of Persona for the same thing. I don't know how. Like, it may be my natural instincts from a lifetime of playing stealth game and horror games. It's totally an instinct of mine to want to avoid combat.
Oh.
And I remember feeling like I wasn't such a weirdo when I was a kid because people didn't want RPGs to have grinding back in those days. That's
so not grinding. Fighting the monsters that are on the map is not grinding. Have you played a JRPG? Have you played a JRPG? I don't think you've played a JRPG, man. Because you have to farm the map. This is literally, you go into a map, you just defeat the monsters that are there, and then you move on.
Well, then why is it so easy to sneak past them?
What do you mean? Why? You need choices?
You hold down the sprint button and go in a straight line, and the monsters have a little Metal Gear Solid style question mark, then they lose track of you, and you can move on fine, and it's like, there is a... I guess if you want to save the time, but at that point you get to a boss where the sheer mathematics of what you're working with will never beat that boss. So it's like, why just maybe narrow the tunnel a bit and force me to fight the monsters then. I'll do it then. It just feels bad to try a boss 3 times, die every time, and realize that I gotta go back and do something 3 more times that I already did before. And this feels so bad because the game's so cute and lovable, and I love how shitty the graphics are.
Shitty? They're beautiful. Don't say that.
Oh god, the perspective is weird. There's no like texture and detail to everything, and I love it because it means every single pixel on the screen is visible, and I can immediately tell what I'm looking at. And I wish more games looked this bad. Yeah, I love that it's Undertale inspired, right? It is Undertale inspired, right? It's got to be. It feels very Undertale.
Probably.
It gets emotional like it, yeah.
I wrote down that rant before I went to bed last night, and I was feeling bad. And I'm sure that when I pick it back up and go through all the other animals in the dungeon and decimate the universe's natural population to get past this boss, I'll be fine. But it reminded me that, like, Undertale is kind of a shmup game. Like, you can still use your Twitch skills to get through the combat. And my characters at this point in Ikenfell, what I had them at this hour and a half in, is just, there's no way they can beat this boss. They die in 1 hit from this boss, and I don't know how much damage they're doing to this boss because I never managed to beat this boss.
It's like saying, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna power lift like 300 pounds, but you don't train for it. You just go like, you just wait a month, boom, and you go to try to power lift 300 pounds, but yet you never trained for it.
But
you just avoided the gym the whole fucking time.
If
you drove right past it, went right to McDonald's, or just have a double McCheese.
But if someone were to make a video game version of deadlifting 300 pounds, it would probably be a lot faster and easier
than
the real thing.
Well, yeah, and it is a lot faster and a lot easier to train. But the thing is, this is one of those things where I'm at a loss because this always happens. I think a game is easy, and then someone else comes to me like, dude, like, I can't do this. And I'm like, what do you, like, my friend came to me for a couple games, Hollow Knight, especially. Beginning of the game, he kept dying. And I'm like, dude, like,
Hollow Knight is pretty tough.
I don't even know what
yeah,
dude, that shit's easy to me.
Knight.
That shit's fucking easy.
Well, one of my problems was that one of the areas you had to find was kind of hidden up by some foliage that was a pixelated fucking mess on the Switch handheld mode.
Oh, you mean finding stuff. That's a little bit different, but yeah, okay.
Man, there is so much misleading, like reviews and impressions about games transitioning over to the Switch handheld mode. Don't play Hades on the Switch, guys. Play it on the PC. There's games that need a big-ass monitor. Ikenfell's not one of them. I love how Ikenfell also looks great on the Switch handheld mode. Yeah, I was rolling around in bed trying to beat this boss, wrote a big complaint about the burnout and the emptiness I feel inside about how I don't want to go back and grind again. At this point in my life, it does not feel worth the time and effort because, my God, I'm going to die at like some ridiculously young age because I'm spending my time doing that bullshit instead of something more healthier.
You should play Dragon Age.
I don't know how you do it. How do you do it, Matt?
So I'm gonna be the equilibrium here, and I actually think
efficiency.
Ikenfell is slightly difficult if you do not engage with its combat the full extent, which is the timing of the button presses, which means you minimize the damage, timing correct.
Oh yeah, you gotta hit those button presses.
Yeah, you've got to do it, and that's the thing is I think
working with.
Yeah, if you don't take out certain enemies, and I think Ikenfell's really clever because it makes you want to battle more because the battle system is really good. I actually think it's really nice. Matt, obviously, you're a big fan of it.
Wait, I thought you hated the shit.
No. So I don't like the fact that there are so many monsters and you start so far apart. But I feel like once you get into it and your units are a bit closer, because my biggest problem when I played it, I think if we go back, is that you play battles so often. If you are doing what we are doing, which is clearing the map, right, each time, is that it feels weird to start so far apart and then have to spend 2 turns moving quite close just to fight. It's the fighting part that's really good, but that moving close is so frustrating every time. And because as soon as you finish that battle, within 30 seconds you'll be doing another battle. You got to spend 2 turns to move forward.
It's because you haven't upgraded your abilities yet. Certain abilities,
that is very true.
Like certain abilities are very far range. Sometimes you can teleport, and you also don't want some of your characters in the front. You just don't.
Yes. So that's the thing is up until like when you get into school and stuff like that, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Up until you do that.
Still playing?
Yes, I am. Well, which is good. Which is a good sign. Is up until and especially where George is when you're fighting Beacon. I think you don't have enough powers to really be able to get that feeling, and the beginning is maybe not a good representation of like the battle system and its exciting part. I think it's a good representation of like the narrative and the music and everything that's really cool about Ikenfell. Like the fact that there's 3 different sprites for each character, which is still fucking dope to me. That's so cool.
I love how weird the battle sprites look for Marette. She came out with like this weird slantiness to it looks awful. I love it.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
But the strategy guide actually said make sure your characters are level 4 and that you have unlocked the healing ability before you can do this boss. And I'll do it later.
Oh. It seems like Matt's games have always just been Matt's games now. Like it used to be like, oh, we all play a couple games that are similar. Now it's just like there's Matt games, there's definitely George games, and then there's Liam games. And me and Liam cross over way more than me and George.
Yeah, we do. I think we definitely do.
Liam may not finish games, but what's that?
I don't have much patience for JRPG stuff anymore. I think.
But it's not JRPG. Play Dragon Quest and come back to me. Fucking Dragon Quest will have you crying. Crying, dude.
It's so true. It's very, very true. It is a disparaging difference.
Oh my god. You kill stuff that's on the map and you're learning the game? That's way different than Dragon Quest would literally have to grind. You literally have to grind.
You played the demo, right? Of Dragon Quest 11, right? Did you play it?
I don't think so.
I don't remember it.
Oh, okay. Because
I did, but it's like
there's one part of the combat that I think you would scream about, which is the fact that you can move around in combat, but it does nothing. You
got to turn that shit off, man. Classic camera all the way, man. You can't do that shit. That shit is so annoying.
You can move around, but it does absolutely fucking sweet FA. It does nothing. It is the most
infuriating
hilarious
thing.
It's so funny. Why is it there? What purpose does you moving around, even though enemies' attacks are homing on you because it's an RPG?
They probably at one point were trying to do something, and then they like just disabled everything, just like removed.
I imagine it's like a remnant of a leftover time. But wow, it is.
Holy shit!
Odd as hell. Oh,
So
well.
you can move around, but like it literally says it, and I was like, oh,
You can move
okay.
around, but it doesn't do anything. Oh, thanks.
Like reviewers
game.
say, like, yeah, just disable it. Just
Yeah.
disable it. Nothing changes. I really see the camera angles and stuff because like it makes the attacks look a little bit more juicy.
It does
Well,
make the text look more juicy.
Speaking
Oh.
of juicy, I've been playing a snack and slash called Dungeon Munchies.
Snack and
Chapter
slash.
2.
Munchies.
It's an early access game. Chapter 2 just came out, and it's what I would consider a fun game.
Define genre fun.
Yeah, like
I just like I want to get on IGN.com organized by genre
fun
games.
fun game. Like it's good. The story is funny because it's literally
It looks
you're a
like a
zombie that gets awakened by a necromancer that likes to cook, and the recipes help you gain abilities, and there's a bunch of like vegetables and fruits that can talk, and you cook them, and there's like this whole like political thing going on where like they have to like feed themselves to like animals and stuff because the Lord of the Forest tells them to, and they're making a rebellion against the Lord of the Forest because they don't want to be. They're more than just fruits and vegetables now. They're sentient and shit like that, and it's just a weird fucking story. But it's fun. It's fun. Like the thing is like you can do a lot of things. You can have guns. You can dual wield. It looks weird when you look at it. If you ever see like video of it.
Is it a Metroidvania?
Huh?
It looks like a Metroidvania. Is it a Metroidvania?
It's a little bit like it, but not.
It doesn't have
fully.
the tag.
It's
but
very
it
linear.
Totally looks like it in screenshots and trailers. Like it's got that tunnely, claustrophobic feel with vertical shafts.
A lot of vertical shafts. You do get upgrades, but it's handed to you. You get forced surgeries to get those. It's clever. It's very clever, and it's very amusing. I'm not gonna lie. It is very easy. Like, okay, there's like, I would say for me, games like Super Meat Boy is hard for me, and that's pretty much where that line is. Then there's like everything else.
Something so bold yet so controversial.
Super Boy, like that's annoying to me. Super Meat Boy is annoying, but I've also played that years ago. Things like Hollow Knight, stuff like that. I feel like that's pretty. Like I would die, but I can beat that game and easily, right? And then you have games like this. Like this is dirt easy. Like you find a build that works, and you're tearing through people. Just eat the right foods. So you get to pick out of like 6 foods to like, and they have all different abilities, and it's that will work with like poison if you want to go a poison build or it. Like it's nuts. It's great. But if you find a good build, you stick with it. I'm pretty sure you'll do okay. I had like a 2-axe build, and basically every time I hit, I get a shield, and every time I also hit, it builds up attack speed and damage. And since I had 2 axes, it also activated the ability to spin around like Garen from League of Legends. So spin to win.
Okay, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Spin to win, baby.
There's a lot of sword. Like there's a lot of cool shit that you can do. It is a good game. I'm gonna go say it's a good. I don't know if it's easy because I found a build that worked, or it's easy because it's easy. But I do think it's pretty easy. If you're okay with like a little easy game that's gonna be fun, I would say yeah. I think it's like $12 on sale. That's Dungeon Munchies. I've been playing a game that it's another game that you guys have never heard of. You want to guess?
Good.
You want to
Yeah,
guess?
this one looks pretty good. I want to guess.
Dude, there's no way we can
is
guess.
Is it on Game Pass? Is it Game Pass?
No,
You were like literally the source of this stuff for a lot of listeners. Like you find things that are truly gems. There's no way we can guess what you're gonna play next.
So, Gujin 3. I think that's how you pronounce it. Yep.
Ah, yes, Gujin.
So,
I loved Gujin 1 and 2.
Gujin 3 is a mass 3D role-playing video game developed by Oregon Infotech, a subsidiary of Wangyuan Shentang.
Hold up,
It's the third installment of the Guzhan series.
We need to clarify that the name has a whole bunch of really complicated-looking Chinese characters before it says in parentheses, Gujin 3.
that game... I don't know. I don't understand how it's like. Let's see. How many reviews it has? Oh, okay, a lot of people have played it. Like, bro, this flew under my radar for a while. This?
I wonder why.
It looks like Black Desert or one of that Korean, like those Korean MMOs. It looks like that.
It's a
which
Chinese.
Asia is this?
It's a Chinese game with like, I don't know if it's Chinese lore. I don't know much about Chinese lore, but
Our resident expert.
it looks really fucking good.
Ooh.
Like it's
It
like
does look quite pretty.
cinematic.
Wow.
It's like there's
Yeah,
obviously there's no
trailer just
mocap.
started.
There's no mocap. So sometimes you can see like the characters being very like stiff, but trust
Got
me, it
full
does
English
not
translation.
fucking matter. It does not fucking matter at all. And the translation is a little. It leaves a little room to be,
Okay,
Be a
so
little bit
maybe
better.
not an official localization studio in English. Okay.
Yeah, it's good enough but
looks
everything
super
else,
pretty.
it's super pretty. Like, not because of the graphics, it's the way they make the environment. Like,
It looks a little, and it looks funny. It reminds me a little of Ghost of Tsushima, a little bit.
like if you see like the first town you're in, just the way they build around the mountain, it just looks cool. There's this like part where you're walking through this hallway and it's like all marble and there's light coming in from all the sides and it's this long hallway and you're like, God damn, like who's thinking of this shit? Like everything just looks good. It's like there's a cinematographer just like, all right, so we're gonna have this and that and then like it's fucking it's a joy to look at. I'm not gonna lie. And
Yeah.
It looks like, and I mean this in the best way possible, it looks like a game from the PS2 era of video games. Like, it's gorgeous, but like all the UI and the combos and the animations is not mocapped. It looks like you're playing a video game. Like, you'd walk in on somebody, you'd be like, hey, what's this you're playing? It's not of this era. It doesn't look like a 2020 video game. It looks like a 2006, 2007 video game in a
I
good way.
don't know. Like it
Shading
doesn't.
and rendering, like there's volumetric fog.
No, I'm not.
and
I'm not talking.
lighting.
I'm not talking about
definitely doesn't look like a
actual
PS.
graphic.
But I
No,
know.
no.
I understand what you mean by like
The vibe. The
just
vibe.
in animation and movement.
Yeah. Just the entire.
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
watching somebody play a random Dynasty Warriors game, and it's really good, or like an action combat game. You know, you'd be like, oh, what's this? Something completely random. It looks like that era, the vibe. Not saying
yeah.
graphically at all.
Yeah. Because like
It
you
sold
see like,
1.3 million copies.
dude, like
So
it's an open fucking like it's not open world, but the illusion is pretty fucking good. Like the way it's like a masterclass in I know it's weird to say that shit. Sounds so freaking corny, but masterclass in like environments. Like you feel good playing this game. Like they're
I
like,
love
oh,
the look of this.
here it is. You can walk around and pick shit up, and it's just like, okay, shit. I never felt so good walking around and picking random fucking flowers up. Like this is cool. Yeah, it's and you can jump. Thank God.
How
Fucking
how-
hell, I hate games when you can't jump.
How did you find it? I'm interested.
Oh, that shit
For
pops
real.
up. That shit just pops up on Steam now. So
was
you
it like
are,
popular?
they're like, oh
saving
man,
the
you play
game.
too many games. Here you go.
You are saving the game economy. Seriously.
Was it popular in China first before it showed up on your recommended feed?
Well, I don't know. Is there a China Steam?
It seems like
is
the
there a China
previous.
Steam?
Yeah.
It
It's
seems like
Steam
the
is-
previous two games were not localized into English. This is the first one.
So
Yeah.
yeah, China has an actual game industry going on now, huh?
China's
we
massive.
keep talking about it.
China's games industry is massive,
Yeah,
Earlier
like
this year,
but
you
it's
were
very
playing Bright
centrally
Memory.
localized in China.
I'm fucking missing out because this
Is
this
this
is
what's
good.
happening?
This is good. And I'm not gonna say this is like the best thing. This is the best thing ever. It's not the best thing ever, but it's so. It's like different, you know. It's
I
made
am
different
intrigued.
enough to be like, shit. Yeah, I'll sit down here and play this for a few hours. You know, just yeah. Like fuck. Yeah, like finally something a little bit like not Western. I don't know. Like. It
I
just
am very
feels.
intrigued.
It's like putting on new pants. You know, you just like you stretch them out a little bit. Like, oh shit, this shit feels good. Like, damn.
So
yeah,
So one of the biggest, most important games of the year is Genshin Impact, right?
yeah,
And earlier you were playing a more minor, small FPS named Bright Memory, but I remember you having fairly positive opinions on that. And I'm really intrigued to see how Chinese games develop culturally, like how different they'll be from Japanese and Western games in comparison. Because like the characters definitely look anime inspired, but it also seems like they pay a little more attention to environmental art than Japanese artists seem to want to do.
yeah.
Where a lot of the focus on the aesthetics is more on the character instead, and it's like all three of those games are gorgeous to look at. Like there's definitely a love for aesthetics that these developers are putting in there that have not exactly the look we are used to. You know, it's so culturally interesting to see how many more of them are going to go. There was one Digital Foundry video they did on a game that was more of a tech demo, but a Chinese studio was making a game version of the Odyssey to the West story.
Oh,
Yeah,
There was
that-
like a
that's
soul
what it
sto-
reminds
that
me
was
of.
Beautiful.
Black Myth.
Wow.
That's what it reminds
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It reminds me of Black
the
Myth.
Wukong game.
Like
Yeah.
and
That, if
it has
it's
like
real,
the same
ugh.
feeling. Black Myth obviously looks fucking phenomenal, but like
Yeah.
Really
It reminds
impressive
me of
stuff
that.
coming out of the People's Republic these days.
it's like dense. It's like the environments are just so dense. Like it just looks. How do you like? I don't like. You play a game like this and you're like, God, like, what? How? Why are games not like this all the time? Like, like I wish. I swear to you, Liam. I swear. If the
sorry,
if
man.
they
I'm
had
sorry,
mocap,
man.
if they had
I'm sorry.
mocap, and they had like let's say like Yakuza, or even I would even say cyberpunk level detail in the face and everything like that,
Yeah.
this game would be like next gen.
I mean, that's the thing, right? You see
can
Wukong
totally
and-
flex it as next gen. It's not next gen, but you can totally flex it.
Well, that's the thing with the Black Myth, right? With the Wukong game, it's like you look at that and you're like, wait, is this even real? Is this possible?
Yeah.
Is this even possible? And you just never know because it's so. The Chinese game market and also Chinese development does not integrate with the rest of the world. Like you think of GDC and everything like that. There's not Chinese developers there. Even at TGS, when you go to the Tokyo
Yeah.
Game Show, you'll have Chinese mobile publishers that publish gacha games in Japan, but it's so localized on China.
And before now, like there were so many more copycats. We're finally seeing like unique, high quality AAA stuff that doesn't look like existing games.
Right.
Which was one of the big criticisms over Genshin, but the longer Genshin seems to stick around, the less and less like a Breath of the Wild clone it seems to be talked about.
I mean, it's weird because like this game is made in Gamebryo, Gujin
Really?
3, right? It's in Gamebryo,
one?
which it's
Wow.
probably the latest one.
Wait,
I mean,
which one? Which game are you talking about? This game.
Gujin 3, the one you're
Oh,
playing.
okay. Gamebryo.
Gujan. Gamebryo. Yeah, it's an engine. It's a game engine that is made in the US, right? So like, they've just got it and they just take it, and they probably just build their own proprietary engine around it.
Shit, the website looks like trash, and they made this. Wow,
it's very old. It seems that they made the original Gujan. We're pronouncing that probably terribly, but in this engine, and you know,
I don't want to oversell it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that it's hard to articulate how different the game feels than a lot of the shit that you play these days. You know, it's like, man, like, because it feels like we're not really going up anymore when it comes down to gaming. Like, it's nothing really exciting. You know, there's a lot of disappointment this year with gaming, aside from all the other shit. You know, lots of fucking disappointments, even the ones, you know, very recently. This one, something different, and it doesn't cost that much. Insane, $22. Yeah, I would say look up a review or something like that. The combat is the combat is okay so far. It's an action combat. You know, you run around.
It looks a bit Devil May Cry-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, it's cool, and you have like a whole star, constellation, upgrade tree thing. That's pretty cool. But yeah, it's an RPG. You upgrade stuff. You have equipment. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting, and I'm very excited to see what like other Chinese games I don't know. To be honest, I kind of want to try a couple of other Chinese games if they actually exist.
More and more as the years go on. Definitely, as the way the world is shaping out to be, we're all gonna be playing more Chinese games in the future.
Yeah.
Just make sure you don't put Winnie the Pooh in them.
Yeah, don't do that. They're gonna steal all our information. Oh no, China.
That's it. They've already got Matt. They've already got the Dad and Sons in their sights.
I'm gonna play me my game. I don't care. They can take they can take my info.
Whenever the year comes that there's like a Chinese Okami game, like a Chinese game
box for all my life. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh my god. I was just gonna say how much I'm looking forward to like the more earnest cultural projects like this. The Black Myth Wukong game definitely seems to fit that vibe.
Yeah.
Like an old Chinese folklore turned into games is what I'm really looking forward to seeing happen over the next few years.
Yeah. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. We all played games, all varied and interesting this week. I'm proud of us.
Look at us.
It's probably the most boring episode so far.
No, wait for it. We're getting to the news.
I watched a cool Netflix show.
You
Wait,
did?
You watched a Netflix show?
What is that?
Yeah. It's totally a George show. Barbarians. It's a German-made show taking place during the Roman Empire from the perspective of the Germanic barbarians at the time. And one of the things that I think is so fun is that the Roman characters actually speak Latin.
I knew you were going to say that. For some reason, I knew you were going to say that because it came up. Did it come up on Twitter or something this week?
It totally did.
Yeah, I saw it as the same video.
About that. You don't get to hear that so much, and the way they pronounce it, it totally sounds like primitive, rough proto-Italian. It's the people who are pronouncing it do a little bit of a sing-song, a up and down, yeah, like you hear stereotypical Italian, but you see subtitles with V words, but the characters are saying it with W's. You hear a lot of aqua. That prefix keeps showing up in a lot of Latin words for some reason. Everyone is aqua something. But yeah, besides the cool archaeological details, like it's got really good looking sets, really good looking armors. One of the things that I think is so fun is that one of the big Roman villains is wearing this helmet with a really like Dark Souls looking screaming cherub carved into bronze on top of it. And I'm sure that just like real people back then, this guy looks big and intimidating, and when you look at him talking, you don't know whether you should look him in the eyes or look at the little face and the helmet above his face. It's a really, really cool, interesting sensation that feels like it's capturing the intent of that kind of armor design. The drama is fun. Like that villain in particular is just really despicable. I love hating despicable villains. God, I just want to punch both his faces in. The main characters are super likable, fun, heroic type characters. They almost seem to be tapping into the kind of energy you get from an 80s action cartoon. You got three leads, 2 males and 1 female, and then the males are like big, hairy, they have a good sense of humor, they slap their beer tankards together. The female lead is this fierce, angry warrior woman with short hair and an athletic build and a thirst for revenge, and she like weirdly provides the more serious edge of the stuff, where those 2 guys provide like kind of a comic edge to it. It's good fun. It's a really good show. I think this is definitely like some of the most fun I've had with this George Ancient World stuff since watching HBO Rome itself. We finally have two good Rome shows in the modern era since like I Claudius in the 70s.
George, when is this bit gonna stop though? I feel like you've been on this like Rome bit for a very long time. Yeah, it's a bit weird, man. It's getting a little concerning.
I will tell you something. I definitely started to feel it fade away a bit when the election happened.
Oh,
and
I was going to say
Barbarians.
Immortals Phoenix Risings.
Yeah, Phoenix Rising then came out too. But yeah, no, I would absolutely not be surprised if my interest in the decline of the Roman Empire starts fading away as the decline of the American Empire becomes more and more
decline of
easy
civilizations.
to swallow situation.
Yeah, decline of civilizations is no fun when the decline of actual real civilizations is happening around you.
Yo, my favorite YouTube channel right now is Fall of Civilizations. Fucking excellent 2-hour-long documentaries I've been falling to sleep with. Oh god, that guy is good. Anyways.
If anybody wanted to know, that was 7 death bangs out of a good 8.
Oh, that feels so good to bang.
That's how...
Damn.
Damn. That's what Matt was saying yesterday.
We had to wake him up. Anyways, that's a private conversation we were having.
Wow.
This stuff's so good, I'm banging my desk in excitement.
Getting spicy.
Speaking of spice, do you guys want to move on, or do we have any more small talk left over?
I think we've small talked ourselves through Christmas, through to 2021.
Okay. So before we get into the more serious stuff, I wanted to talk about some Game of the Year awards that are getting handed out before we do ours in a couple weeks. Polygon, IGN, and Rock Paper Shotgun have chosen Hades. GameSpot has chosen Half-Life Alyx. Game Informer has chosen Last of Us 2. How do we feel about these choices, guys?
GameSpot choosing Half-Life Alyx. That's quite a surprise.
Yeah, that seems like the outlier to me. I get it. I'm a little sad that I'm not one of those, that it didn't stick as hard with me as it did with their editors, I guess.
I think it's a very good game. I'm just kind of like...
Yeah, definitely.
It feels like a lifetime ago.
That
was pre-COVID almost.
When I was playing it's something I've been wanting for such a long time, but I remember like Matt was also surprised at like how quickly it seems to have kind of fizzled from the collective consciousness of us over the year.
Yeah, It has. I mean, it happens every year though. Like every year, games that tend to get released from September to December always get factored in the most towards. I mean, when was Last of Us 2 though? July?
Yeah, but Final Fantasy was earlier this year, and people loved that thing.
Yeah, there was a lot of Final Fantasy remake on the Game Awards.
Last of Us 2 is June.
Not so much with the actual Game of the Year prizes they're handing out. Hades seems to be the star this year. Hades looks like everyone's favorite, and I'm wondering if
Hades and The
that's
Last of
mine
Us
too.
and Ghost of Tsushima, I think, are the main 3.
Yeah, but in my case, I almost want to say, we'll be talking about it in a couple weeks.
Whoa.
I'll just say,
Spoilers.
I'm surprised I'm not seeing as much Star Wars Squadrons on these lists as I was being pandered to when playing the game. Demon Souls Remake isn't showing up so much. Doom Eternal seems like something that's kind of fizzled away as the year goes on as well. I am surprised at how much praise Animal Crossing gets, though.
Why?
Like-
It's literally like the most played game of the year out of all of these games. It sold more copies than all of these games combined. Like, does it surprise you?
I can confidently say at this point
Whoa.
that I did not actually have that much fun playing Animal Crossing this year.
But I didn't have any fun playing The Last of Us 2, but ergo...
Matt loved it.
Exactly.
Well, which game?
Last of Us
2.
Last of Us.
Yeah, I enjoyed that game.
Well, game of the year? Game of the year, Matt? Maybe.
Whoa,
maybe.
whoa, stop the spoilers. Come on. Chill out. We've got a 150th episode to do.
And we
Wait,
have
are
more
we
serious
recording
news
right now?
stories.
Yes. Is this part of the podcast? Are we just
Yes. Yeah,
This is news banter, my friend.
I didn't.
We're
I didn't
talking-
see it. I didn't see it on the news doc. So I'm like, oh, we just having a conversation about my
It's one of
parent
the
eating
yellowed-
nuts over here.
It's one of behind the curtain. It's one of the yellowed ones. The ones we skip over fast.
Yeah. Just a little bit of light conversation before we go into the heavier ones.
A little bit of a wet.
I can see.
taster.
I can see Last of Us being chosen. I can't see Half-Life Alex being chosen.
It was by GameSpot, which
Yeah.
is unique.
Yeah. Hades.
But
you
I
know.
can empathize. I understand. I understand how that would get someone tickled enough to pick it. I absolutely can imagine what being in that mindset would
Was there
And I
like
wish
first
I
VR
would-
game? Oh my God, VR!
Right.
Whoa!
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
if
probably.
someone had waited long enough to play Half-Life Alex until someone who waited long enough to play good VR until Half-Life Alex, it absolutely would be your game of the year. Totally.
That was
is
me.
the killer
though.
app.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was that
Do
person.
you get it? Do you understand? Like do you feel
I
their-
thought
their
Half-Life Alex
excitement?
was fantastic, but it is one of those things we just mentioned. It is like in my memory, it is not that strong of an experience. I think it was a
Yeah.
great overall experience, but like when you take everything away that kind of is the video game part of it, it's not that great of a game overall. I think it's a strong VR experience, right? It's definitely best VR game for me, but I have not played Squadrons in VR, so we can argue till the cows come home about that.
Maybe GameSpot's editors played a lot more of the mods than we've been doing. Maybe that's what was going
I mean,
on with
that
their
probably
decision.
doesn't factor into it. I imagine you can't. They wouldn't. I mean, I would hope they wouldn't rank the game based on whether you
would.
can mod it or not. Otherwise,
Well, I would base
Skyrim
it
would
ba-
win every
on
year.
What you get for your money that includes the mods, right?
Well, you're talking about the base game, though, right? They're not going to review a video game based on what mods you can have for it.
Yeah.
If
So
someone
why
were
would they
to
do
make
it for the game of the year
if
showcase?
someone were to make a review of Crusader Kings 3, for example, I think you would. At this point, now that it's been a few months after launch and that content is out
Oh
there,
man,
I think it would
Crusader
be diligent.
Kings. Oh yeah, that's a great game too. Damn. This is weird because this year has been stacked full of pretty outstanding games generally.
Yeah, you got
Like-
Wasteland 3 and shit.
Yeah, exactly, right? But nothing feels like overly strong. Like compared to other years. It doesn't feel like there's an outlier.
I think Cyberpunk was pretty good. Yeah.
Can't wait to see you voting your game of the year in the 150th episode, Matt.
So Cyberpunk is definitely going to be remembered for a lot of reasons that might not be great. One of which is, I guess, how well it exemplifies the cyberpunk dystopia we actually live in. So, much like in classic cyberpunk fiction, such as Deus Ex, a deadly plague has decimated the economic and political power of the United States, and a vaccine being distributed by rich people is a whole cyberpunk plot of its own, full of nepotism and conspiracy.
I'm gonna let people take that shit first. I'm not gonna be the first one, man.
Oh no! Don't no, Matt.
I'm not gonna be the first one, man. I'm gonna let
You're
Obama
not.
and Bush do it.
Tens of thousands of people were testing this stuff all year.
I'm just going to throw
I'm
out there
good.
1 million people across the world have taken it. There have only been 2 side effects in cases. I think that's a pretty good record.
Matt,
Vaccines
you're
are great. Let's do
gonna
it.
Be fine.
Yeah, I have to. There has to be some voice on the podcast that wants to, believe that this is all gonna go south, right?
There shouldn't be a voice on the podcast spreading misinformation and conspiracy theories, though.
Agreed.
One thing that's been happening over the past week
It's
is that
terrible.
some misinformation.
Trump 2020.
What?
Matt, was that your roommate?
Shut up, Dustin.
So I was attempting to segue into the streaming rules included in the U.S. COVID relief package they just passed. You know, the $600 let them eat cake relief package. It might get voted up to
$600. I could pay my phone bill with that.
I know, right? It might get voted up to $2,000 as the week goes on, so this might be obsolete by the time the episode comes out. But the both houses of the U.S. Congress have passed this relief bill. President Trump has signed up on it, and it includes some new rules, criminal penalties for illegal streaming. There was some panic in the video game community over whether or not this stuff would be targeting Twitch streamers, and upon closer scrutiny of the bill itself, that seems to not be the case. So included in our $600 COVID relief package is the Protecting Lawful Streaming Act, which is a bipartisan bill sponsored by both Republicans and Democrats, but it's a Republican from, I believe, North Carolina, Tom Tillis, who is writing the press releases regarding this thing. It's aimed at punishing large-scale piracy operations that, to me, sound a lot like they're describing the putlocker stuff in the bill. You know when you get on DuckDuckGo and type in The Mandalorian, you can put in some keywords after that to figure out how to. The Protecting Lawful Streaming Act is
Why you had to mention The Mandalorian? Huh?
I wonder why. I don't know why I decided to pick that. It just came in my
Okay,
memory
go
for
ahead.
no reason. But luckily for us, this bill is not going to be targeting individuals who might use private streaming services, pirate streaming services rather. The language in the bill targets digital transmission services that are primarily designed for, which is one of the stipulations in the clause, that have no commercially significant purpose or use other than services that are intentionally marketed and do promote the fact that they publicly perform works protected under Title 17 copyright laws, which in court would not describe Twitch. The bill has clauses in the end that specify that this stuff should not be targeting good faith traditional business practices that have become entrenched parts of their industries at this point. The bill also includes something people are talking less about that you might hear more about in the future. It's something called the CASE Act. The CASE abbreviates some ridiculously long acronym. The CASE Act is going to create a new copyright court system in the United States governments, where copyright holders can be awarded up to $30,000 in damages if they find their work being shared online. This is an aspect of the bill that's getting more criticism from the usual copyright activist groups like the Electronic Frontier Foundation and Fight for the Future. They don't like the CASE Act. The illegal felony criminal streaming stuff, that's probably not going to be a big deal. The CASE Act may become a bigger deal later as this stuff gets reformed more and more. Tom Tillis also wants to reform the DMCA completely. This is the mechanism that has allowed both YouTube to monetize its content and copyright holders to strike it. I think it might be time for a reform, but I wouldn't want to put it in the hands of someone like Tom Tillis. Tillis is working on a complete reform of the DMCA that would include a notice and stay down provision that could make copyright bots like YouTube's Content ID stricter.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
Why is this in? Why is all of this in an act?
Because it's harder. In the U.S. government, where a simple majority takes all in so many of the procedures of our system, a lot of bills are easier to get passed if you staple them onto something more important.
But this is about Corona. Oh my God. Why do we even bother living at this point? Jeez.
I don't know. I asked that question too.
Jesus,
right? Like, what are we actually
fucking
supposed
Christ.
to do when we're 50 and 60 and
The
I
answer is
seriously
Gujin
stay
3.
awake at night.
The Gujin 3. You wait for the games like that. You're like, oh yeah, that's right. This is why I play games. Right here. And Yakuza 7. That's
There's some
the
faith there.
Mm-hmm. Faith that things are gonna be okay. You know,
Oh my
or
God.
a nice acai bowl, man, from your favorite acai bowl place. That's the
So
stuff
how
we're
much do you
swimming
get
about.
when this passes? How much do you get this? Wait,
we're
do you-
supposed to get 600
is this a part of this COVID relief bill?
if you are under a certain income level.
Wait,
let's
maybe I
maybe I should
is-
look that up.
Is this a part of this COVID relief bill?
Yes.
Oh
It's
my God!
part of
Japan
the-
literally gave me $1,000 within a month of Corona happening, and they gave it to every single citizen in Japan.
I got $1,200 6 months after.
Wow. This was not stapled onto any bill. This was just a government decision.
The thing
Wow.
is that this is the government's budget for this year. Is how this stuff all got stapled together and was passed because it's the whole budget. And Donald Trump released this ridiculous press release about how much foreign aid is included in that when that was in his proposals from earlier this year. And it's anyways.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. These new copyright laws are included in the COVID relief package, and the one that is most complete at the moment is probably not something to be as alarmed about as the Case Act and the incoming DMCA reforms that are probably going to become bigger news stories next year as they get more time in the spotlight. Next news story we have coming up is a Liam story. You wanted us to cover Raw Fury, that is, releasing their game publishing contract.
Here we go again, George.
Furry.
We know you like the furries, man. We know.
It's spelled almost the same. It is one R off.
It's
It is
Fury.
so close.
No, this story is
This
in
is
there.
some
I know
dark
you can read
shit,
about
huh?
it, but compared to everything else, this is a incredibly on the point gaming related story, and is possibly one of the most important stories related to indie games literally all year. We always talk about random news, and yet here we are. This is one of the most important stories about indie games all year, and we didn't have it on until I pointed it out.
Liam's going to be way better at reading the documents here than the rest of us. They published their publishing agreement, and also some like slideshow templates for how to pitch your game, some financial agreement forms. But sorry, back up. We're talking about Raw Fury, the publishers of games that are like kind of small but still kind of popular.
Literally, they all right. Sit down.
They
Josh,
did
it's fine.
Kingdom. They did West
Kingdom,
of Dead.
Nightcore, West of Dead. They did a lot of. They're basically the equivalent to Devolver in indie publishing. They are as big, almost as Devolver. They are the other big guys that you want to go to get money. They are.
Because when I look through their lineup, there's not a lot of recognizable
Not
titles.
a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those guys are the ones making just as much money as Devolver, just in
Except for
different
Backbone.
ways.
That's going to be a
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
good game.
You
Backbone's
really
going to be
think
great.
Earn Limited is making as much money as like Hotline
Now we're talking
Miami and
Kingdom has sold like 2 million copies. Gona
Kingdom,
sold
maybe.
like Dandara, Bad North, Kingdom 2 Crowns, Call of the Sea just came out. They're obviously
But-
doing Sable, Backbone, and The Last Night.
Kingdom is the only one of those that I actually recognize.
Well, anyway. This is why we're talking about it. Anyway, the point being, so hands up. The guy who released it is Johan Torresson, who is a very good friend of mine, I will admit.
Oh, Jesus
But-
Christ.
Right, stop.
here we go.
Wait, because I am both simultaneously biased and also not. This is incredibly important. So what happened is, for anybody who doesn't know, Raw Fury basically released their publishing contract with an indie developer. So if you were to sign a game under their publishing deal, this is the contract you would sign. And these contracts are so secret and so NDA'd usually that people don't even know what they look like. So For indie, and let's talk about indie developers. Usually, people making their first game or their second, they've never had a game published. This is the contract they're going to see, and they will have never seen it before. And these contracts, there's no templates online, there's nothing you would ever find. And the reality is these contracts are long, they are full of legalese, you need a lawyer, and they are worth editing. Now, the point is, in transparency, Raw Fury released it to kind of help improve and start the conversation around dev publishing and around getting things moving in the video games industry, which led to a lot of other developers releasing a lot of other publishers releasing their contracts. Therefore, everybody's able to sort of see and level the playing field. It came with a lot of criticism from, and I'm going to throw it out there, already very successful indie developers who have no reason to sign publishing contracts whatsoever, so it's kind of weird and strange, who criticized Raw Fury for basically picking out the contract and going through it and saying, I would never sign this is terrible. Like, they're basically stealing your money. Even though these people are millionaires who already are very successful. But the important thing is, finally, as somebody who has signed a couple of contracts in the past, finally, people are seeing what it's like and what it takes to get a game made. And the reality is, it's really hard, and you're probably not going to make any money. Even though Raw Fury give you the best tools possible, there's a lot in that contract that is not very good. Not very good. Clauses and stuff. But the one thing people fail to mention, and why I bring it up, because you probably, if you follow the games industry at all, you might have seen this on Twitter, and you might have seen JW, previously of Van Beer, pick it apart, and some other people. These contracts are negotiable and editable. That is a blanket, boilerplate contract. But at least you can see the extent of what it is. A lot of it is pushback. Now, Raw Fury do one thing that a lot of developers don't like, which is they have a flat 50-50 rate between them and you, which doesn't change, and they have full Riku and then 10% on top, which is also not very good. But there's a lot of things they do for you. And they give you $500 towards a lawyer for you to get a lawyer to check out the contract, which devs usually do not have lawyers. Like, if you're talking about a dude pitching your student game to Raw Fury, and all of a sudden you get lucky enough that they want to sign you, this contract will take months. I'm talking like 3 to 4 months to go through. Back and forth, lawyer to lawyer, changing this, changing that. Like, you're signing away a big chunk of your rights when you do this. So it's so important that we have these tools and these resources online for people to know what they're going into. And this is a good start to that. I felt, while the Raw Fury contract itself might not be perfect, I felt the criticism that Raw Fury and those faced because the contract wasn't perfect towards developers was kind of bullshit. Like, their transparency throwing out basically their secret weapon, like the ability to manipulate devs behind closed doors with really shitty contracts. But they're not. They're showing that, hey, look, this is what we do. This is what's going to happen when you sign with us. And this is exactly how it is. It is negotiable, etc., etc. There's full transparency about this, which opens up the fact that other publishers are doing it, like Whitethorn Games and all these kind of things, which means even more we can sort of see the level playing field of the industry we work in. It's super important. There's a lot up and down about this, but I feel like the slating of the transparency was not very good. And we can do better than slagging each other off on the internet. But sorry,
50% revenue share, man. That is some good like YouTube West, back in the days split right there. 50-50.
Yeah,
remember those days?
Even as a YouTuber, you don't want that kind of deal.
You don't want that. You're not getting paid.
You don't want.
Man.
You don't want 50. I know it sounds tempting, but you don't want 50-50 on your own game either. You want 60-40, 70-30 or more. But the fact is, the reality is Raw Furies is probably the average. It is the absolute average. You usually get less than that, to be honest.
What the fuck?
A hot take.
Is it?
It's true.
That's insane, though. And
is
that a cut from Steam too? Like, is whatever they get?
Oh no. This is that 50-50.
Whatever they get, they are splitting
super
that.
important. Yeah, that 50-50 is after two things. One, all of the platform holders take their cut first. Steam,
Right.
Nintendo, PlayStation, etc. So then that pool of money then goes to the publisher. And the publisher takes all of their Riku money, which means all of the development costs. So if Rough Yuri gave you $500,000 in the beginning to make the game, they have to make that $500,000 first before you see a penny. And this is the same with all publishers.
It's YouTube. It's basically
And then,
what this shit is.
Then all money after that from platform holders after the 500,000, you get 50-50.
Fuck that, man.
I have a hot take, I think.
Hot
Go
take.
ahead, George.
Hot cake with
When
hot
I was
take.
reading through this, I feel like it kind of explained why I don't recognize a lot of names on the Laura Fury lineup.
Nah, dude, I'm sorry, man. That's
Ooh.
not like
This doesn't seem like you would want to put your magnum opus underneath all these closes. More like your quick little money makers.
you will. I'm right. So here's the reality of that. The reality is, unless you sign with 5 indie publishers, I'm going to say Devolver, Raw Fury, Thunderful Games, Team 17, and somebody else, you will not make any money. And the reason for that is the PR marketing backing of these 5 companies is large enough for you to compete in the market. If you go with a smaller indie publisher, unfortunately, you are not going to make any money. No matter how good your publishing contract is, and you get 90% of your money, the fact is you won't make any money because these names are not big enough. Devolver and Raw Fury and Thunderful and all of these have big, huge marketing departments with a lot of money and a lot of ad spend, and they will make you money if you sign with them, even if the contract's not good.
That's why you got the 50-50 from like Machinima back in the day.
Their marketing's not good enough for me to hear about these games.
Dude, Crown sold like 2 million copies. Do you know how much of an indie success that is? That's insane.
Crown is the only one on their list that I recognize.
Bad North. Bad North is...
I don't recognize Bad North. I never saw it until... Well, I might have skimmed past it, but...
But then tell me a Devolver game outside of Fall Guys and like Hotline Miami.
No, there's a few.
The monster game Matt was playing earlier this year, where you're a big slime ball sloshing through the place.
Carrion.
They also published the Shadow Warrior series. My friend Pedro. They're so
games.
good at marketing that I like their E3 show better than all the others.
Yeah, but that's Devolver, right? But that money came from somewhere. It came from somewhere in the beginning, right? They're massive now, but it came from somewhere. Like, we're talking the difference between millions and millions of copies of every title, and we're talking hundreds of thousands of units. The reality is, if you sell 100,000 units or 200,000 units of your video game, which is not a lot, you will make money. We're talking like Devolver sell millions. We're talking about like Fall Guys, which sold like 20 million copies. That's Fallout 4 levels of money. Like, it's like indie publishing, and I'm like massive fucking air quotes as big as possible because it's not. It's AAA money at this point, but they funnel it into lots of different projects that then get the Devolver marketing back in. If Two Crowns sells 2 million, I'm telling you that is bank. That is bank. It's just not Devolver bank.
Game of Thrones. They have everything. They have Serious Sam. They got Grease.
They do have
They got
Serious
Grease,
Sam now.
man. I played Katana Zero. I know all these games. Like, if Devolver gave me a 50-50, I'm taking that shit.
I
don't know
super...
Raw Fury. I don't know them. Backbone, though. Backbone looks good. Play the free prologue on Steam. It shit looks good.
I would
good
be
as hell.
super interested to know what Devolver's contract is. Because one of the people who was tearing it apart was the guy who made... tearing Raw Fury's one apart was JW, who made Disc Room. And obviously he made it with Devolver. I'm very interested to know.
So let's hear your takes on these specific clauses, Liam. Let's put you on the coals here.
Okay.
Absolver? I could keep going. I keep going with this. Shadow Warrior 2?
I mean, this
Enter
is
the
point.
gungeon.
Devolver, Road Fury,
Enter the
there's a couple
gungeon,
of-
bro force. Dude.
Let me bring up their Dropbox so I can read the actual quotes. I have some sum ups on the
Talos principle.
the
Gods will be watching.
the docket, but to make things really stressful,
Miami.
I'll do some exact
What?
quoting here because I really like some of the extreme words they have here. All right.
Yeah.
Products let's talk about their merchandising agreement. Products designed to support and or promote the game by using, by way of example only, the names, renderings, dialogue, sound effects, or screenshots from the game, including without limitations, books, comics, music, animations, animated GIF files, webisodes, clothing, posters, novelty, and strategy guides. And this is what I really think is a little slimy. They then say, of every kind and nature whatsoever. So how much control would the developer have over marketing their game at that point with extra ancillary products? If you wanted to make a Kingdom expanded universe, how much freedom would this give the developers of Kingdom?
You said like 3 different things in one sentence. You said marketing, you said merchandise, and you said the universe of. So you said 3 different things that all fall into different categories. One, the marketing tends to be entirely within the publisher's hands, and you would have to get express permission for doing publishing stuff, and you would have to provide them with assets. That's a normal thing. The merchandise tends to usually fall under the rights of the publisher, but you take a percentage of all merchandise profits. That's one typical standard. And then the universe of is the tricky one where we're talking about IP. Now, if you'll notice with Road Fury, you don't lose the IP. You still own your IP, which is massive. Sometimes when you sign with publishers, you have to sign away your IP rights, and that is a big thing because it means then once you sign it away, if the game or the development fails, they keep the IP and they can give it to another team, and then that team can make your game without you. So that's a big thing.
Unless the developer breaches the contract. Is this normal? In such event, developer may repurchase the publishing, marketing, and distribution rights granted to publisher under this agreement at fair market value, or all rights to the game shall immediately be assigned and transferred free of charge to publisher, in which case developer shall not be entitled to any developer share.
Totally normal. It's totally normal because it's.
Then how come lawyers and developers are saying that's weird and a red flag?
Because it's written in a way that would get changed. So this is what I'm talking about when it's boilerplate. If you were a dev with a lawyer, you would look at that and you'd be like, I want this expressly written to say what the nuclear button gets pushed at. Is it fail a milestone? The build and the game is just fundamentally broken. Cyberpunk 2077. Right? If you were an investor of Cyberpunk 2077, you looked at the PS4 build, that's what that clause would be for. And that is typical in most contracts with publishers, is some sort of break of the clause, but they still because they've spent $500,000 on you. They're going to want to recoup that in some way, whether it's the rights of the game, the ability to carry on development with a different team, or the fact that they will ask you to repay the development funds so far. That's quite normal. Now, because it's boilerplate, you can go to your lawyer, suggest a change, and which obviously is the reason they give you $500, and then send it back to Road Fury. And then you will discuss to try and get the language specifically nailed down in the contract that is happy for both parties. It's not that that is what you have to go with. It's just that it's there because of situations like Cyberpunk 2077's PS4 version, right? Where if you've spent $500,000 and that is the game that's about to be launched in a week, and the developers has failed you, not fucked you, but failed you, and failed to provide what you've given them money for, then that is what that kind of clause is for, and that is quite normal.
So I remember there being some drama when Super Meat Boy was being re-released for the current, I guess now last-gen platforms, and they couldn't get some music from the original soundtrack on because of legal issues over the contract. And that sounds a lot like a clause I spotted in here. Publishers shall have the rights for any platforms which succeed any of the platforms listed above, which are released in the 10 years following the release date. So a lot of this contract kind of binds you to not competing with what you make for them for 1 year, but they have the rights for 10 years to make like PlayStation 6 and 7 versions of,
but that
what
makes,
you make for the PS5.
I mean, I would not want this in my contract, but
10 years is 2 console gens.
No, but hang on, how do I... So I wouldn't want this in my contract, but I see why it's there, because usually it's all, and it's just forever. But the fact is, you read it like this, it's expressly written 10 years, so it sounds like a long time. But the reality is, you would not have made this game without Raw Fury giving you $500,000. So if you had PlayStation 4 and PC agreement with Raw Fury, and then you sold those games and you had this game that you'd made with those dev costs, but then you yourself went and did the porting to the Switch and then published it yourself, and then Raw Fury can make no money on that version whatsoever. That's why that clause is there. And I wouldn't want it in my contract. I would want it to be agreed that after a certain amount of time, either we're very expressly aiming on certain platforms, or that it's negotiable in the future about what the other future platforms are. So I don't like it the way it's written in this, but it is kind of normal. They are paying you to make the game. The game would not exist without their funding. So it does make sense that the platform is agnostic in the sense of the contract. Otherwise, the game just doesn't exist, right? So I can see it from the publisher standpoint. I don't think it's written very well, and I think I would pay a lawyer to fix that clause. I mean, I would pay to change a lot of this to be more understandable language, or at least for the developer to understand expressly in the court of law what you're fighting against or what you would be going up against.
Let's talk about the non-disparagement clause. The parties acknowledge and agree to not make any statements, written or verbal, or cause or encourage others to make any statements, written or verbal, that defame, disparage, or in any ways criticize the personal or business reputation, practices, products, or conduct of the other party, its employees, associates, or partners.
Yeah, throw that away. That's garbage. Get that. That's not cool. That, I don't know if that's a response to like Nick Alice and all the bad stuff that happened with Nick Alice and their developers and stuff like that.
That was the example I was about to throw out. Like, we wouldn't know half the shit about Nick Alice if people stuck to those non-disparagement clauses.
Yeah, exactly. I would throw that out. I would sign the contract on trust, essentially, and, you know, if I fucked up, Raw Fury could say whatever they wanted about me, or vice versa, right? I think that's terrible. I don't think you should have that in any contract. It almost immediately sows distrust, because you're like, why is this here? What were the circumstances prior for this happening? So yeah, no, I would want to either correct the language on this, or I would want to take it out. And once again, I will remind everybody, these things are editable. While some things are non-movable, like 50-50 rev share, etc., the specific points of the contract is different for everybody. Honest to God, get a lawyer. And the reason this contract was released was in transparency to show you the extent of what video game contracts look like.
It's so easy to get a lawyer, guys. Just pull out that.
I mean,
that
it's not easy, and the $500 they give you is not going to cover the costs of getting this contract nice, but at least it gets it looked at, which is a start. But this is my point. The thing is, without these things being shown and without the good faith, which I know Johan is trying to do, because I know him personally, he's not the guy who's making all the millions of dollars of Raw Fury. He's the scout. He's the guy who signs he's the one who gets the games and brings them in, right? He just wants the level playing field to be so devs understand and everybody can learn and try to get the best out of the industry. Nobody's trying to fuck each other over. Everybody's trying to make money and make games. Like, that's the industry, right? But, you know, it's a legal contract. Legal contracts are scary. They look like one versus the other. It's not cool. I don't like it. It's the worst part of signing a video game. I don't like it, but you got to do it. And I'm glad that... And it's funny enough, when I was doing some of my own stuff, like he was the guy I asked a lot of questions to before all of this. So he's definitely trying to impart wisdom to everybody. and that has come with its fair share of criticism of the contract, which is on Raw Fury then to go and fix. But I hope this was an insightful conversation.
They have opened themselves up to criticism in the interest of transparency.
I think that is a very good point.
We don't have enough time to talk about the Kentucky Fried Chicken console. Let's move on to listener questions.
Is that actually a real thing?
It's a real thing.
I thought it was just a 3D render of an advert joke.
Let me look up how much it costs. That's all I will say.
Wait,
before
you
we
can
move
buy
on.
it? I thought they were just going to send it to streamers as like a marketing ploy, and then it's just a glorified chicken grill or something.
It comes with a built-in chicken warmer. It's got a custom-built casing with a unique cooling system that is there so that they can successfully integrate a chicken chamber.
Holy
that's what they
shit.
call it, a chicken chamber.
Wait,
Wow.
is it really like is that a real thing?
Yeah, the Tech Times has a spec sheet on it. It can handle 4K and 120 FPS.
But all right, yeah, but is it a real thing? Is it
Yes.
like
Yeah, here it is. I'm looking at the website. It's basically, you get KFC chicken, you order it, and then you can keep it in a special chicken chamber where it uses the power of the fans and the heat from the computer to keep the chicken warm. World's first built-in chicken chamber. Never risk letting your chicken go cold again. Thanks to the patented chicken chamber, utilizing the system's natural heat and airflow systems, you can now focus on your gameplay and enjoy hot, crispy chicken between rounds.
I'm a little disappointed though that we're not finding the store page. Like what if I want to order a KFC console?
I haven't found where you can order it. I found the Cool Master. I found the Cool Master ad page where
I'm
it's
getting
on.
I'm getting a little scared.
Boys, it's okay because as it says here on the website, it is VR ready.
Oh, good.
Get on your feet and enjoy the world of virtual reality while the smell of fresh chicken captures your senses.
I that won't make you nauseous at all.
KF console?
Well,
There's no order page yet though, and I'm a little worried this might turn out like the Xbox One fridge. I'm a little worried it may be a promotional thing.
can we spend Patreon money on buying one?
It's gonna be expensive if it's actually gonna be putting out.
It's probably going to be like
4K.
$1,000. Yeah.
Maybe they'll subsidize it
No,
with all their revenue
wait.
from the chicken business.
It's gonna be way more than 1,000. It's gonna be a little bit more than 1,000. There's no way. There's no way. It's like. There's no way, dude.
Maybe KFC will like compete with Facebook in terms of making this stuff cheap enough by leveraging their other business.
Like it has to be a joke, guys. It says enjoy smooth and fluid high frame gameplay at up to 240 FPS for all games. All games. What does that mean?
All games with customizable graphics options. All games that you can set to low. Anyways, we should move on. We should totally freaking move on.
Yeah, this has been a long show.
A chicken chamber that can fit like 2 chicken breasts. Like what?
Don't say that. It's been a long time. Anyway, we should totally move on. If you would like to send a listener question into the oh god, I just can't stop thinking about chicken breasts now. If you would like to send in a question to the Dad and Sons,
breasts.
no, Matt.
I knew that would get you. I knew it would get you.
I'm trying to talk about where you can send your questions in. If you have comments or questions or suggestions or concerns or poetry or stories or
poetry.
dissertations
Yeah.
or contracts. If you would like to send us your publishing agreement, mail it in to dadandsonspodcast@gmail.com. Alternatively,
George
the
fanfic.
Patreon listener questions channel.
Airport fanfic of George.
I feel like we've done similar projects before. This one's a little more broad stripe, though. We're going to be casting a wider net with this one. Alan Yee says, a lot of directors have a list of essential films that they think every serious director or critic should have seen. Is there a similar list for game developers and directors? What are some of the essential games in your canon? Would you find it strange if someone in the game development field tells you they've never tried a Mario game? Yes.
Liam?
Yes, I would.
You're
I
like
don't
the
know.
only developer here.
Mario,
Hey, Matt, you made a big gun once. Come on.
like the mascot
Yeah, they crashed my
of
computer.
video games.
Hey, it was so
That was
good.
the end
the
of
world
my
couldn't
career.
see it.
That was the end of my career. Is making that big
It
gun.
was so good. The world couldn't see it.
How does someone make it to adult age and get a productive job without having played a Mario game. It's ubiquitous. It's a cultural thing.
There will be some people, because those people are out there. There's like, I don't need to play Mario game. Okay. Play a Mario game.
Just gonna throw it out there. You don't know how. You don't have to play games to make games.
Yep, I knew it. There it is. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who barely play games that make games.
Yeah, like Miyamoto being one of them. But like the guy who made Mario.
Avoiding Mario is like avoiding fried chicken.
No, I get that.
I feel like it's
you should play Mario.
It happens naturally by living in this society. Already. Yeah.
George is like DoorDashing KFC right now.
Every culture across the world has fried chickens are everywhere. Chickens are everywhere. Everyone needs to eat food. Bread is everywhere. Everyone in the world has at some point covered a chicken in bread and fried it. That's like Mario. I don't want to say it because you need expensive hardware and stuff. Dude, there's videos on YouTube of like tribal people from Afghanistan playing Mario with childhood memories of doing it in the 80s. There's all the isolated corners of the world. Unless you're living unless you're naked in a jungle in the rainforest in Brazil, you probably played Mario at some point in your life.
I think there is a list of games you could point to somebody and be like, do you know what? If you wanted to understand what the video game landscape has been like through the ages, play these games. I don't think there's a defining list of games like there is movies. But I don't know. I think people who play games think they know how to make games just because they play them, and that's not really how it works. And
It is the way it works.
What would a game look like if it was made by a developer who never played a game? That's what I want to know.
I mean, Mario was made by a dude who lived in a time when video games didn't even exist. He just made a video game based on some arcade experiences.
Yeah, there was Donkey Kong before Mario. There was the Mario Brothers.
Donkey Kong.
Right.
He made Mario Brothers. Yeah, but he made them not playing video games. He made them like toys. They exist out of the genesis of inspiration from other things.
Is that going to happen again?
Not with video games, I doubt it. You look at the cultural revolution of games, and most games stem from other games. MOBAs stem from a mod, from an RTS, battle royales, spawn from death matches. Like, games come, like, if you don't play games, especially, you're not gonna I think video games are more of an evolution than they are originality. So I think, yes, you have to be playing games to be up to date with what is selling and what you need to do to make money if you're making games. I think studios need to look at what other games are doing and then, play Breath of the Wild, make Immortals Phoenix Rising. Make Deus Ex, play Deus Ex, make Cyberpunk. Right? I don't know. These things are like evolutions of each other. But in terms of I think a lot of indie games just kind of come from inspiration from a lot of other things. And that's not to say indie is like, oh, this magical world where things are original, etc., etc. I just think that you probably find more experiences through there that are very different because they come from people who maybe don't have as much of a touch in the cornerstone of video games like we do. I think if we were to make if we made games and we'd grown up playing games, you're going to grab hold of those cornerstones like platforming and shooting and RPGs and then make games that emulate those kind of ideas. So I don't know necessarily if giving them a list of games and being like, hey, look, here's what the gaming landscape is like, go make a video game would be... I don't say it's any better or worse than just having somebody just make a video game out of nothing. I think you have to understand the language of game feel and touch and playing a controller and stuff like that in general, but I don't know if that constitutes having to actually have played a game. Why would you be making games if you hadn't played games anyway?
Yeah, I do find it genuinely hard to imagine.
It's kind of like why Kojima's never made a movie. Because he's not a movie director. And just because he watches three movies a day doesn't make you a movie director, my friend.
probably helps.
Oh, I imagine playing
Right.
games will help you understand what is required to make a good game, but it's not necessarily how it works.
Would you guys consider Tetris an essential?
No.
I think if we
Really?
had to define essentials, I think maybe Tetris, Mario, Doom.
Doom. But like FPS games nowadays, I
Zelda.
think owe more to Half-Life actually. Or
I would,
at least,
I would actually say like Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
which owes to Half-Life.
Yeah, but then and then we're talking about the evolutions upon which we live in now.
and yeah, Half-Life owes to Doom.
Spelunky, Stardew Valley, Undertale, PUBG, Fortnite. Oh God, I don't like this question.
I don't like this question.
Put it away, Alan. Put it away.
Mr. Bubbles on Patreon says, I've been playing through Landstalker on the Sega Genesis collection and really appreciate the ability to speed up the game and go back in time to fix mistakes at the push of a button. What technical hurdles make this difficult to implement in modern games, and how do you all think playing games in general would be affected if this was a common practice?
Oh yeah, that
I
would change everything. Yeah.
I would love it.
I would love it.
I would love it. I
Old
actually-
farts.
A few weeks ago, I was
Love
playing
it.
through the Nintendo Switch, NES, and SNES classics you get with your Nintendo Plus online subscription, and they have rewind buttons, and it's amazing.
Yeah, virtual console with all its like speed up, go rewind, the Mega Man collection with all that kind of stuff. Just give it to me. Just give it to me more.
I wanted to rave about it on the podcast, but deleted it and put something else in instead. But yeah, no, that's like a really good thing more people should know about is the rewind buttons in these old emulation collections. Like it's an amazing feeling being able to instantly correct your mistake. I think that actually like is almost like a core feeling to the experience of playing games. It's experimenting with the systems and being able to see what action leads to what outcome, and being able to just have that process happen faster and more naturally it's playful. It's fun. Like it takes the stakes and the tension out of experimenting with stuff. I mean, yeah, it's a per game basis thing. You wouldn't want an intense survival horror experience to have that much of a security blanket around the player. But imagine how much more you would have probably liked Super Meat Boy Forever if it had a rewind button.
I would have skipped the game button. No, I love it. I don't want a speed up button, and actually, in terms of the modern technicalities, there isn't really one. But usually, speeding up games requires speeding up the frame rate, and as you can see with like the Dark Souls PC version, do you remember the glitches with that when you sped up the frame rate? It like literally constitutes to your strength and stuff like that. You'd have to completely go in to make the game with the idea that frame rate does not affect these things. There are other ways you can speed up games, but that tends to be the cheapest way, especially if you're using something like GameMaker or Unity. So I wouldn't necessarily want to do that myself, but I love the idea of rewinding. It's easier to rewind games, like game states. We see it all the time. You know, think of sports games and replays. Those replays are not video recordings. They're literally just code recording snippets that rewind the code that just happened in interesting ways. So I would love that. Like, imagine playing an RPG. Like imagine playing Yakuza 7 and you get one hit KO'd by a boss after doing a long string of boss fights in a dungeon or in Persona, and then all of a sudden you're just like, nah, bitch, fuck this. And you just rewind it 5 seconds and you defend instead of attack.
Yeah,
That would make my life so much easier.
You'd be able to experiment with like what the boss's weaknesses are, what you should have done in your turn, without
It just goes
having
back
to go
to
through the motions.
yeah, it just goes back to accessibility, right? We're talking about, you know, I am all for people being able to mod Dark Souls to their heart's content when they start the game if they want to make it easier, because that's how they want to experience it. But there is a defined, the game designer made it this way, and then there is a this is the way you mod it. And I would be totally fine with playing Mega Man like I did with a rewind and a fast forward function. So I can enjoy Mega Man without not playing it. Because that's how I feel when I die a lot.
Should we do one more?
Yeah.
Sure.
Generally, Bananas from the Patreon wants to know what's some music you guys have enjoyed in 2020.
Oh my God. I can give you a list. I always do.
And here it is.
Let's do it. This is more a question for you guys because I have shit taste in music.
I'm very quick. I haven't really listened to music much in 2020 because I've been at home a lot, so I've been doing a lot of podcasting. But there is somebody I found recently called Rina Sawayama, and she is amazing. Check her out if you like. I don't know. I don't even know what to compare her to, but she's great. Rina Sawayama, she's great. But Matt, what you been doing? What you been listening to?
A little bit of everything, man.
Ooh.
I got a little bit of Denzel Curry in here. I got a little bit of Celeste. I got a little bit of
game soundtrack?
No. FKJ. FKJ. Damn, George. I got a little bit of and Anderson Park, Pack. I got a little bit of Moses Sumney. Like, I could go down a list. Some Rico Nasty. I'm feeling a little nasty. Tara Wack is always like, she's always in there somewhere. I listen to a lot of indie stuff too. Well, I guess less known people, should I say, that are on here. But that's just a few. I mean, really, I try to discover music every day. So my list just keeps growing. My main playlist is in the thousands. So, and I just keep going. So like when I go through like my main playlist, I know where I was in my life at that point, at that time, because I know when I added it. You know, like I was going through this or I was doing that, you know, because like I was in a certain mood, and you could always tell with like the type of music choices I was listening to.
There's a lot of music from earlier in 2020 that I can't even listen to because when I was listening to it at that time, it was a pretty rough time, and I'm like, I don't want to listen to that because the memories that this music inspires is not great, and that can be really powerful.
Yeah. Well, there you go. A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah, meanwhile, I got nothing.
That's okay, George.
Let's see what happens if I load up my Spotify, because I'm going to hear the same damn 80s music I've been hearing for the whole past year.
I'm amazed you still pay for it.
I don't.
Oh, I do.
Oh, God, I don't know what's wrong with my brain. I feel like I get nothing out of it most of the time. I put music on sometimes when I'm cleaning. I used to, like, make a bigger point out of it, but now I just don't care.
Oh,
I just don't care about anything anymore.
Oh, no. That's not. It's not good, George. We need to change that.
I need to slap myself awake. We got an awards show in 2 weeks. Chop, chop, chop. Let's go.
Don't forget, you can join our contest to win a long sleeve t-shirt of the Dad Select shirt that you may have seen floating around on Twitter. Follow us at dadandsonspod. Tweet a wonderful picture of yourself listening to the Dad and Sons show or one of Matt's new musical suggestions. That would be interesting. You can also join our patreon.com/dadandsonspodcast, where you will be able to join our wonderful Discord community, which all got drunk together on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day together, and they all showed each other their faces for the first time. It was actually a unique and wonderful experience that after 6 months of this Discord being a thing, seeing all their faces for the first time was an amazing and wonderful experience, actually. It really truly brought a smile to my face. So thank you to everybody who did that. That was lovely. It was a good party. So yes, if you would like to join that, you can play along in our community game nights. Other than that, you can find us all on Twitter, and we'll be back for the 150th episode bonanza in How long? 2 weeks, George?
2 weeks. 2 weeks. January 16th.
So we're taking a break.
Yeah, because we didn't do one during Christmas. We're doing one during New Year's.
Happy New Year.
Oh, that's right. Happy New Year, guys. Shit.
Yeah, it'll be 2021 by the time this comes out, guys.
Thank God.
New Year, new me.
New Year, new me. New me, new everybody.